Back to Fedorov. Fedorov into the corner. Now behind the net. He can fly. He turns, shoots. And the save by Riendo on Sergei Fedorov. Meanwhile, Scott Stevens mixing it up with Joe Kosher, I believe, and the play is stopped, and Ron Hogarth may well hand out a penalty or two. Back to Oates. Now to Ronning, top of the right circle. He'll shoot right on. The save by Cheveldae. And then high stick by Zombo is Brindamore. There'll be a penalty. It should be at least a 5-minute penalty on Zombo. The Blues are going to have a 2-man advantage, and Zombo is furious.
Well, Brindamore is cut, and if Zombo's not kicked out of the game, I don't understand why. On the play, Brindamore was going for the rebound, and he was knocked down, and then, Zombo just slashed him right in the nose, and he is bleeding, Ken, and I don't think there's any reason for any kind of subjectivity here. Zombo should be kicked out.
In the St. Louis end, Paul Cavallini gets the puck. It hits Gallant, then snaps his drill down. He spins with a pass for his brother, and Gino crushed to the board.
Earlier, Gino Cavallini really bumped hard in the corner, but Luongo, the rookie, a native of Detroit, took the worst of that hit. And a stick save by Cheveldae. Who's puck? What a weird bounce there. Now Basson far corner. Runs over Fedek. Lowry gets it, centers it, but Dallas knocked it away. As bodies fly all over in that Red Wing zone. Puck cleared out to center, played back in by Paul Cavallini, and then Kosher and Sutter go down in a heap, and then Basson comes in. Now Lowry and Kosher get their sticks up. That Kosher has been involved with everyone except the trainer against the Blues tonight, and Mike Foga might get into it yet.
He's not bashful, no question about it. The whistle came because of a hand pass. Paul Cavallini knocking the puck down, and the Blues player was the next one to touch it. And when it was touched by Sutter, the whistle blew. Kosher wrestling him down.
The center ice. Good pass to Stevens, but McLean was in offside on right wing, and then Probert knocked Stevens down. And the Blues captain gets up and has words with big tough Probert. Lowry a shot and a save by Cheveldae. And then behind the net, Basson knocked down. And a penalty here on the Red Wings as Basson gets up and he has words. It's 6-2 for the Blues.
Detroit. And it was Sergei Fedorov who went in very high.
Now Probert, who had that chance, in front for Kosher. And Kosher knocked down Cliff Ronning. A shot off Brown, sticking off the glass. Fedorov on left wing. He's knocked flying by Stevens. And then Fedorov injured on the play as Scott Stevens caught Fedorov with his head down, and he might have twisted his knee, Ken, as he went over the hip of Scott Stevens.
Meanwhile, away from Fedorov, McKay and Momesso are having words. Now Dallas and Stevens are shoving each other. And then a Blues player gets knocked down from behind. Probert knocks a Blues player down from behind, and these officials have something to be worried about here. Probert's in the middle. He gets up. He's ready to go. He's circling the pack. And these fans are up cheering for blood here. Leon Stickle, the veteran linesman, with a hold of Probert. Now Momesso is involved with McKay in a pretty good fist fight. Meanwhile, they're trying to help Sergei Fedorov, the 21-year-old Soviet, who was checked, and he's up but being helped by the trainer as Momesso looks like he's talking to Hogarth as if to say, hey, why don't you stop it, or are you going to stop it? So Hogarth, the referee, breaks up Momesso and McKay. The other linesmen, the other two officials, are escorting players to the penalty box, including Scott Stevens and Joey Kosar. And now McKay and Momesso are separated. And there are gloves and sticks strewn around the ice here with 2:09 to go in the second period.
It was a clean check, Ken, as we get another look at it.
Fedorov moved in, tried to make a cut, and ran into the thigh of Stevens, who, you know, you cannot throw your leg out. You cannot knee. You cannot trip with your leg. Stevens was going for Fedorov, Fedorov made a move, and Fedorov really got caught on the thigh or knee. Hands full really most of the night. He tried to set the tone in the first period. He even called a penalty shot for Detroit. And this melee had Bob Probert at the bottom.
He came over, Ken, and cross-checked Stevens from behind as he was going nuts in there. And then Probert went after Stevens, but he viciously cross-checked Scott Stevens from behind and then went after the Blues captain.
All in the midst of this, Fedorov was down on the ice. He was Stevens off a check. Right wing to Oates. Oates gives it in front to Hall. A shoot. He scores! Brett Hull, number 50. He scores from the slot, and Hull has number 50. He becomes only the 5th player in NHL history to score 50 goals in 50 games. Number 16, Brett Hull, scores number 50 here in the 3rd period of the 49th game. An incredible feat, and Brett Hull, in a great hockey town, gets a standing ovation. And cheers from his teammates, and congratulations, Brett Hull. Buda comes from behind his net and just clears the puck sharply off the boards down the ice. No icing. Meanwhile, Rich Sutter, involved in a collision at center ice with a Wings player, went down. Sloan getting up. Then he decks Fedek, heading for the bench, and they'll fight. Sutter and Fedek. And now everyone gets into it, and a Blues player gets punched in the face. Now Lowry wants to go after Kosher. I believe Jeff Brown got a cheap shot from Joey Kosher, and we've got quite a melee across the way now. A 9-3 game, the Blues leading it. Now Gallant trying to wrestle Sutter out of the pile. I'm not sure, John, which Detroit player collided with Sutter at center ice. I believe they were going to their respective benches, but no question Sutter took a shot at Brent Fedek, and then Brown seemed to get punched and drilled down by Kosher, and that's why all of this is occurring.
Well, I think it was Fedek who upset Sutter, and then Kosher suckered a Blues player, Brown, from behind. Why he did that, I don't know. Jeff Brown did not do anything. And now Isabard and Sutter having words, but meanwhile Kosher and Lowry trying to be separated. I have to admire Dave Lowry for going after Kosher, who took a blatant cheap shot at Jeff Brown, and Lowry went right after Kosher. Now Gallant and Sutter push and shove. Now Basson, here we go again. Basson gets things started again.
And Gallant gave Basson quite a shot from behind, and they're going at it. They're paired up now. Every man for himself. This takes you back to the old days. You don't see this very often, John, anymore.
Fortunately. Well, there's a big pile up at center, and if you can make heads or tails about who's on top or who's on the bottom, you're a better man than me. I'll tell you, that looks like a rugby scrum out there.
5 pairings, 10 players, the 2 goalies looking on, gloves and sticks strewn around the ice. Well, these folks in Detroit have watched hockey for a long time, and they go back to the 6-team league years ago, and events like this used to occur with some regularity, with the familiarity of teams and players. But it's a novelty, if nothing else, nowadays. Things have calmed down a bit, but you get the idea something may happen at any moment. Yzerman is in the middle of it, a rather gentlemanly player. And they're still shoving and bumping, and a lot of yapping going on now. And 2 linesmen trying to keep 10 players separated. No picnic. And you got Bob Basson and Gerard Gallant, the 2 main combatants at the moment. Basson was going after another Detroit player moments ago. Gallant really slammed them from behind. Now they're taking Sutter over to the penalty box, I believe with Kosher. So that leaves 8 in the center of the ring.
Well, I don't know why they just don't start sending players to the dressing room and getting them out of the ice area, because I'll tell you what, Kosher would not hesitate to come out of that box and go after Sutter or another member of the Blues.
I guess these two teams are going to play tomorrow night somewhere too, huh? At the arena, 7:35. You don't think their Wings are going to take this one lightly, for sure. They're down 9-3.
Well, this has been going on for about 5 minutes. It all began at center ice when I think Kosher knocked Sutter down. I think Kosher's the one who knocked Sutter down. He was upset, and he went after Brent Fedek. Fedek was knocked down. It wasn't Fedek who began the altercation, but Kosher. And then Kosher came from behind and suckered Jeff Brown. I don't think we'll see it as we have a replay. And Brown was knocked down by Kosher, and that began the entire melee. As Lowry, and you got to give Lowry full marks, Ken, for going after Joe Kosher. I don't care who it is in the National Hockey League. If they sucker one of your players, they better respond, and Dave Lowry did.
Quick shot by Fedek, and Riendo gets a piece of that. Then Merwad drilled down by Sean Burr.
Now, a very good hit by Burr, one of the clean hits tonight. We've had a lot of not so clean hits, and Burr knocked Merwad down.
And the final tonight at Joe Louis Arena, 9-4.